Again, thank you everybody for joining. Again, my name is Ayatoni, and in keeping with our theme and kicking off our theme of our brain boosting hobbies, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite hobbies, and you might have kind of known or seen if you've joined us before, or even if you've joined us today. I'll let you know. Exercise, physical activity is one of my favorite hobbies. All right, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about, like Megan said, ways that you can incorporate physical activity throughout your week in a way that's not a stressor, but something that can at least relieve some stress. And I'm going to talk about also ways to protect independence while doing hobbies you love. I'll talk about functional exercises, which is what we're going to be doing today. And I'm going to be talking about how movement can support that, how movement supports memory, how it supports focus. All right, so just a quick reminder again, all you'll need today is a nice open space. I have this nice lovely space here at the CEP Center behind me, but all I'm going to be using today is this non-rolling chair. All right, so this non-rolling chair is nice and stable, so anything that I need, I might need to sit down at some point, I might need to stand up. That chair is not going to slide out from under me. It doesn't have wheels, and if you notice, it doesn't have arms either. So that's my suggestion. If you don't have a chair that doesn't have arms, that's okay too, but I do recommend that if you have a chair, it be a non-rolling chair. All right. So also you can have a water by you or your favorite drink just to stay hydrated. So you'll need that in a moment when we do our exercise. And one more reminder, again, our exercises are accessible to everybody. So this workout today is for anybody at any level of fitness. I'm going to show some modifications. So if you rather do an exercise seated or standing, I'll demonstrate that and you choose the direction that you would like. All right. So to jump into it, first, I wanted to talk about how we can protect our independence doing hobbies that we love. So whether it's painting, doing puzzles, or walking, you know, our favorite hobbies typically rely on physical ability, right? Things like grip strength or mobility in our shoulders or our hips, or even being able to stay in a comfortable position really is kind of related to our ability to move or to maintain our position, right? So physical activity, things like walking, things like even strength training, and I'll say strength or resistance training, support that. Okay, and resistance training is just a fancy way of saying doing an exercise with an external resistance. So that could be something like you see behind me. I have some medicine balls here ranging from 4 to 10 pounds, but can also be your body. So your body is a resistance, right? Gravity is pulling against you, and that body is providing a resistance for you to work against every time you move. Right, so we're gonna do no weights today except for our bodies. So we're doing a body weight workout. Now, the way we're gonna do our workout is in the realm of functional movement. So again, functional movement keeps us doing things that help bring us joy, right? So we're able to exercise because it's going to help us do our daily tasks. So it's going to help me picking up something, putting it up on a higher shelf. Maybe it's going to help me twisting and putting something from one side to another. See how I'm doing some exercise movements there, right? It's not an accident. That's what functional exercise or functional movement is. All right, so by practicing these exercises, we're protecting our independence. We're not just doing it just to get by, but to really be able to still find joy in the things that we enjoy. So whatever your hobby is, remember physical activity can support that hobby. All right. Next thing I really wanted to dive into is, again, functional exercise. So a lot of people throw that word out, but it's not always explained in a clear way. But when we talk about functional exercise or functional movement is something that we're doing to help boost our balance, our strength, and our coordination in doing daily tasks, right? So we're training in ways that support stepping, right? I'm stepping over something, right? I want to make sure I'm stepping carefully, right? I'm stepping forward, backwards, side to side. All those things require balance. So we're working on balance. And it's not just balance on one leg, but balance as we move throughout our space. So that space can be at home. That space could be going to the grocery store. So balance is a very important thing that we do need to work on every week. And a good way to work on it is to strengthen the muscles that support our balance. Things like our core, things like our lower extremities, right? Our legs, making sure we're able to get up and sit down carefully. All right. Remember, balance is important even for things like gardening and walking. I want to be able to reach down without falling over. So we're going to practice those things today to help support that. Finally, I want to talk about how movement supports things like memory, focus, and really brain agility, right? So our brains love variety. You might have heard that all the time, right? Brain and neuroplasticity, our brain likes new things, just like our body likes new things when we exercise, right? We can't do the same exercise over and over without changing it in some way and expect to get a result, right? A positive result. Now, depending, right, you can do some things to maintain, but really in order to progress, to get stronger, to really be able to adapt to different changes, you have to keep things new, keep things fresh, right? So we want to work on different exercises, specifically in functional fitness, to help stimulate different parts of our brain. One way we do that here is incorporating dual tasking. So that dual tasking word is something that I like to throw out here when I do our exercises together. Dual tasking is when you're doing two tasks at once, right? Pretty straightforward. But the way we dual task here is we do something called motor or motor cognitive dual tasking. What that means is we're either doing two motor functions at once. So that might mean I'm stepping and raising my arms at the same time, or I'm doing motor cognitive. Motor cognitive, now that's the really fun one, all right? We might do a little bit of that today. Motor cognitive might mean I'm marching, and at the same time I'm marching, I'm trying to say different words for the letters of the alphabet, right? So I'm really engaging my mind in two separate ways, but at the same time. So research shows that if you do participate in that motor cognitive dual tasking, there can be an additive effect of slowing down that cognitive decline. So if you choose to do it, hey, it could help, all right? So we're gonna dive into our workout today. Thank you for listening to those points, and thank you for coming today. Remember, the biggest hurdle really is arriving. I'll take care of the rest, all right? So again, all you're gonna need is that non-rolling chair. I have that behind me. But I want you guys to always, please feel free during the workout, take a break when you need it, drink some water when you need it, and jump back in when you're ready. All right, so I'm gonna go back here, go to our exercise area, and I'm gonna start seated. Feel free, you can be seated with me or you can be standing. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start with a really in-depth warm-up before we do our workout today. And our workout is not gonna be 45 minutes or an hour or anything like that. We're gonna be really efficient and use our time, all right? So we're gonna start from the head and make our way down to the body, warming up the different muscles, starting with our neck tilts upwards and downwards. So I'm gonna turn to the side to show you. I'm sitting up nice and straight here, all right? That's the key. I'm sitting up nice and straight. And I'm just gonna be looking upwards, getting a nice good stretch in my neck, and looking downwards. And as I'm looking upwards and downwards, what I'm paying attention to here is that I'm not moving into a point that causes me pain. I'm never gonna ask you to do something that's gonna have a painful effect. Rather, I want you, because I can't feel how you feel, to really be that advocate for yourself. If it hurts, I want you to stop that movement, okay? But I'm looking upwards and downwards nice and easily. And what I like to do, I'll let my breath follow. So as I look upwards, I'm taking a nice deep breath in. And as I look downwards, I can release that breath. So a few more upwards and downwards movements here. And last few, moving at your own pace. And when you're ready, you can return to center, and we'll move to our next movement, which is going to be head turns this time. So I'm going to turn and look over my shoulder, and I'm going to turn and look over to the other side. And I'm going nice and easy as I turn side to side here. And what I'm doing, I'm just gradually, nice and slow movement through the range of motion of my neck. And here's another note, my range of motion might be different than yours. You might have more or less. I just want you to move comfortably through your range of motion, all right? You might notice as you're looking over each shoulder, maybe you can go just a little bit further than you did previously. And if not, that's okay too. Remember, everybody is different. And just listen to how your body feels today. All right, and we'll pause back in the center. All right, last head movement we'll do here. I want you to bring your ear to your shoulder. So we're doing a head tilt here. Now, as you bring your ear to your shoulder, I want to show you something as we go to the other side. So I'm gradually bringing my ear to my shoulder. Now, you see this big angle here, right? This ear is far from my shoulder. I want to slightly drop that shoulder. You'll feel a nice, good stretch all along that shoulder, that upper neck area, all through that shoulder. Okay, so let's do that each time we bring the ear to the shoulder. You want to drop the other shoulder. And that's just optional. That's just to get a little bit more of a stretch. Again, moving at your own pace. If I'm going too fast, feel free to slow it down. If I'm moving too slow, you can speed it up a bit. And last two, and then we'll pause in the center. All right, back to center. So next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna move to our shoulders here. All right, so here is an option. If you prefer, like I said, you can be standing or seated, especially for these movements, where we're really just focusing on the upper body. For now, we're focusing on the upper body, so seated or standing, it's really up to you. But I'm focusing on the shoulders. What I'm doing is I'm raising my shoulders up, then I'm slowly bringing them down, all right? And I wanna let the breath follow, so as I raise my shoulders up, I'm taking a nice deep breath in, and as I lower my shoulders, release my breath. Let's do that several times. All right, now in a second, not just yet, but in a second, we're gonna do a similar movement. So we're still working at the shoulders, but we're gonna change our pace a bit, all right? So let's pause for a second and watch. I'm gonna raise my shoulders up again, breath in, and then I'm gonna allow my shoulders to drop as I exhale, all right? Let's do several of those. Now, notice as I'm doing this, I'm not trying to hyperventilate, right? I'm not breathing that fast, but I am really exhaling, really pushing that breath out, all right? Breathing in. Two more of those. And last one. All right, very good. Shake out the arms. Next thing we're gonna do some shoulder circles or shoulder rolls. What we're gonna do, we're gonna start with just the shoulders. Again, reminder, I'm sitting up nice and straight. My back is not against the back of my chair, my back of my seat. I'm sitting up nice and straight. And I'm going to do a shoulder roll backwards. What that means, I'm going up with my shoulders, bring them back, down, and forward. So a nice shoulder down and forward. Again, moving to your own pace. The key here should be smooth. You're looking for a smooth motion. As we make our way through this warm up and and getting our body ready for our activities. All right, now let's add our elbows in. We're still doing that same movement, but we're adding in elbows. We'll add a full arm length for that big arm circle. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Shake out the arms. We're going to do the same movements, those 3. So shoulders first, then the elbows, then the full arm length. But now we're going to do that forwards. All right. So sometimes moving forwards, it feels a little different, feels a little funnier than it does moving backwards. So what I want you to do, pay attention to your body. How does it feel? Is forwards easier than backwards? Let's do that. So shoulders again. I'm going up, forwards, down, and back. At your own pace, or mine if it feels comfortable. Ready, let's add in elbows. And ready, full arm length. And relax. Very good. Shake out the arms, shake out the arms. Very good. Let's make our way down. So we're going to work on the torso / hips and make our way down the rest of our body. So I'm going to show you the standing version and I'm going to show you the seated version of these exercises. All right. So I'm going to stand first. And if I'm standing, I really want to make sure that your area is clear. So if possible, if you're going to be standing, you can have your chair out of the way, just nice and clear. And we might need it for some more exercises, so you don't have to move it too far, but it's nice and out of the way so it doesn't cause me to trip or fall, all right? No rugs or carpets around me, nice clear area. We're going to start by doing a hip circle, right? So hands are on my hips or hands are out. And I'm doing hip circle, nice and easy movement all around. And just allowing the hips to get nice and warmed up. All right, keep doing that if you're going to do the standing version. If you're doing the seated version, right, you're working the torso and moving the torso all the way around. And 3, 2, 1. Let's switch directions. Seated or standing, up to you. Doing our hip rotation, torso rotation, hip circles, whatever you would like to call it. And 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to do some leg swings. All right. So I'm going to start seated. Right, for the seated demonstration first, since I'm here. But for the leg swings, if you're seated, I want you to gradually just swing your legs side to side nice and easily. All right, nothing too big. You're really just warming up those muscles in the hip as you swing side to side. All right, if I'm standing, what I want you to do is go behind your chair. All right, so my chair is nice and stable again. I'm reaching and holding onto the back of my chair. And I'm going to swing one leg side to side in front of me. And just again, allowing that leg to fall nice and easily. It's not a leg lift, right? So it should be a very easy movement, not too much strain at the hip or anywhere in the leg. All right, now with that same leg, I'll start if I'm standing first. So if I'm standing, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn, okay? I'm going to turn, actually we'll turn this way. I'm going to have my leg that I'm going to swing. I'm going to do a front leg swing here, closest to my chair, and you'll see why here in a second. Again, my chair is here so I can grab, right? My chair is here so I can grab as I swing front and back. And what I'm gonna do with my arm, my opposite arm, I'm gonna swing that arm with my leg. All right, you'll see why here in a second. Before I do that, let me show you the seated version. If I'm seated, what I want you to focus on is a single leg march. All right, nice and easy, very slow pace single leg march. So you're still activating that muscle. All right, so seated or standing. Let's do a few of those forward leg swings. All right, I'm working on this leg. I'm turning to the side. So whichever leg you're doing, as long as that leg is close to your chair, not too close so that you hit it when you swing, but close enough so you can grab that chair. All right. So I'm swinging and I'm swinging my opposite arm. And now I'll show you why we're doing opposite arm. Here is a little balance challenge for you. All right. I'm gonna move my chair here. Wish me luck, guys. All right, I'll move my chair here and I'll show you. When you swing your opposite arm, you can balance. It's kind of like you're skateboarding a bit. All right, so optional challenge here. You're kind of swinging the arm. It's kind of working like a pendulum and keeping me balanced that way, okay? And pause, very good. So we worked on one side just now as we did the side leg swing and front leg swing. Let's switch legs, all right? So I'm gonna start seated again. If I'm seated, just a quick reminder, you're just doing side to side leg swings, all right? Side to side leg swings. If I'm standing, side to side leg swings while I'm holding onto that chair, all right? So let's do our side to side leg swings. I'll tell you what, guess what? We're still in our warm-up. The joke here is always like, what? We're still warming up? Really important to do a very in-depth warm-up so you can be prepared for the activities that you're doing. Now, the good news is the warm-up is almost done. And the other good news is we're gonna get into the activity that we're gonna do, all right? Our functional workout today. Very good. Let's pause doing the side leg swing. Let's do our last front leg swing. So again, that leg that we're working on is closest to my chair. If I'm standing, holding onto that chair for starters, and I'm swinging the opposite arm. Opposite arm is swinging with my leg. If I want to challenge myself, I can let go and do that leg swing here. All right. Keep going if you're seated or standing. And I'm just gonna again show if I'm seated, I'm doing a nice single leg march with that same leg. All right, feel free if you wanna extend sometimes. The key is to just do a nice warm up for the leg. And 3, 2, and 1. All right, very good. Shake it out. What we're gonna do, every time we kind of finish a exercise here, we're gonna do something I call active rest. So for our active rest, we're marching in place. All right, so we're just marching, kind of keep the engine running as we're doing our exercise. So as we're marching in place, I'll introduce you to one of our build tasking games that we play here. All right, so I can't hear you, but imagine that we're having a conversation, all right? So what we're gonna do as we march in place, I would say a letter, and I'll move through the alphabet A to Z. I would say a letter while we march. You have to give me a word for that letter, all right? But I'll give myself a word, but you guys out there, I'll pause and let you give me a word, right? All right. We'll just do a little bit of this, just an example. So I'm marching. I'll start with A. All right, give me a word with A as we march. Any word, all right? The word I came up with is Tony, my name. And we'll pick it up the pace a little bit. So B, bicycle. C, chocolate. D, dancing. E, elephant. F, fairy. G, gigantic. There we go. All right, just a little bit there. Very good. Shake it out, shake it out. All right, very good. So last warm-up movement we're gonna do, we're gonna activate our calf muscle, that lower leg muscle right there. What I want us to do, if we're seated or standing, we're gonna do a very similar movement. We're gonna do a standing calf raise. If we're standing, we're holding onto our chair and we're coming up onto our toes and coming back down. If we're seated, all right, if we're seated, we're doing that same thing. Hands are on my thighs or hands are on my chair, and I'm coming up onto my toes and coming back down. So let's do several of these here. Again, moving at your own pace. Coming up and back down. Up and down. Up. Now notice my fingertips are barely touching my chair here because I'm trying to work on my balance a little bit. So if I wanted, I can move my hands away, right? That's really challenging myself. But just in case, I have my chair here. My chair's here if I need it. If I'm starting to lose my balance a little bit, I can grab it, okay? So let's keep it going. Do 5 more seconds of these. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. All right, very good, guys. Guess what? We finished the warm-up. All right, let's get into this, you guys. Again, thank you so much for being here. Let's focus, all right? Functional workout. What we're gonna do, we're gonna do some step movements first. Okay, so for our step movements, you don't have to have any objects, right? But we're gonna imagine that we're gonna be stepping over or across some different objects. So what I want you to do, again, make sure that your area is nice and clear. And I'm gonna use my chair here as a visualization, okay? So my chair here is a little wide, it's not too wide. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use it to help me visualize going from one side of an object to the other side, right? I'm able to clear that object by stepping across. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do several step across, and we can do that same thing seated, stepping across from one side, and I'm turning my body and making sure to try to get both feet on the other side of my chair, all right? Remember, at any time, you can grab some water, rehydrate, you can take a break and jump back in when you're ready. Let's do some step overs, all right? The way we'll do our first step over, I'm gonna start on this side of my chair. So whichever side of your chair, make sure that you're starting with both feet. We're gonna move one foot to the other side, all right? And back. Again, using that chair as a gauge of our distance of how we're stepping, all right? So we're stepping, and we're stepping back. Perfect. How's this? Thank you. Perfect. So just to say that again, we're stepping and we're stepping across, all right, using that chair to gauge your distance. All right, stepping and stepping across. Very good. Stepping and stepping across. And we're going to do time for this instead of a certain number of reps. I'm just making sure to really clear that distance as I step across. And 3 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. All right, now we're gonna go to the other side of the chair and we're gonna do the same thing. So again, I'm using that chair to gauge my distance. I don't wanna be too close so that I crash into the chair, but I'm close enough to the chair that again, if I need it, I'm there to grab it if I can, all right? So ready, I'm stepping across in 3, 2, 1. Stepping and coming back, all right? Stepping and coming back. Now, if you're standing, keep it going. If you're seated, I'm gonna do that same thing just to demonstrate. I'm stepping and coming back. Step and back. And 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, very good. Let's go back to the original side. Okay, so the first side you were on. So before we just stepped 1 foot, right? We stepped 1 foot and went back. All right, so we're gonna change it up now. What we're gonna do, we're gonna step and then continue bringing the foot to the other side. All right, so we should be back together on this side. Then we're gonna step back and let the other foot follow. All right, again, if I'm seated, I'm starting on one side, I'm stepping and bringing the foot, stepping and bring in my foot. All right, so seated or standing, it's up to you. Let's do several of these in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Step and follow. Step and follow. Step, follow, step, follow. Now we're gonna do this for about 20 more seconds. But I want to point out, so we're not doing any weighted exercise in the sense of using external weights like dumbbells or anything, but you absolutely could. All right, so you absolutely could grab some dumbbells here, and that adds a little bit of added resistance as you step across. And we'll rest. All right, very good. We're gonna do one more set of that, but remember, in between, we're gonna march in place, just keeping the engine going here. And give us about 15 more seconds before we do one more set of those step across. Remember, always grab water or whatever you need to rehydrate, or if you need to take a break, even before I say it, all right? All right, let's get back in position. We're gonna do that same step across. Remember, we're stepping and then allowing our other foot to follow as we step across. Ready, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and step all the way. Remember, you can move at your own pace if I'm moving too fast, or if you want to move a little faster, remember, it's up to you. And 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, perfect, very good. Again, we're marching in place. And we'll pause. All right, very good. So to demonstrate our next movement, I'm gonna move my chair really just so you can see. I'm gonna have my chair, again, always there for me in case I need that support, all right? So let's imagine the chair will be in front of me. It will soon, and you'll see how the exercise looks with the chair in front of me. But I want you to see my legs as I move and do these exercises. So what we're gonna be doing a series of step backs or side steps, but always starting in this neutral position with feet about together, all right? They can be about shoulder width apart. But what I'm doing, I'm gonna start with a step back, right? So I'm stepping back with one foot, okay? Coming back, then I'm gonna step back with the other foot and coming back, all right? So a step back lunge. If that chair's in front of me, I have that chair, it's there for support. So I'm stepping back, that chair has my fingertips. In case I need it, I can grab a little bit tighter, all right? So fingertips, that way I use it more as a safety net than a crutch, right? I don't want to rely on it by putting all my weight into it, but have my fingertips on the chair as I step and step back. Now, another note real quick, anytime we do these lower body exercises where we're doing things like squats or stepping back, I want you to watch my knees, okay? If I'm stepping back, I don't want my knee to go forward here. So my knee is doing an angle, right? But it's not pushing forward, all right? So the angle that your knee makes with your leg is not, it doesn't have to be like a 90-degree angle if your body doesn't allow you to do that. What I'm trying to have you focus on is just emphasize doing that step movement, stepping back, pushing your weight back, and preventing that knee from going forward. So you don't want to go forward. You want to make sure that knee stays over about your toe box or just over your foot as you step back, all right? So if you're standing, that's what the exercise looks like. If you're seated, what I want you to do is really push the weight. So as we step back with one foot, that same foot, you're stepping forward and pushing the weight into your heel. But notice still, as I push that weight into my heel, my knee is still over my foot, right? I'm not pushing so that my knee is past my foot. I really want to protect my knees as I do any lower body exercise. All right, so seated or standing, you're doing our step backs or step forward if you're seated. Ready in 3, Fingers are to the chair. 2, 1, and stepping back and forward. We're doing 30 seconds of these. Back and forward. Remember, moving at your own pace. Forward, back and forward. Remember to breathe during exercise. Don't hold your breath. We have 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. We're marching as a rest. Our active rest. Remember, we're keeping our bodies moving. So whether you're seated or standing, you can still march, right? We're all marching together. We're gonna do one more set of those step back, step forward movements. And this time I'm gonna do that same movement, but seated this time. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this time I'm stepping forward. We're doing 30 seconds. If you're standing, you're stepping back. If you're seated, you're stepping forward. We're halfway there. Keep it going. All right, very good. Again, we're marching in place. Active rest. And we have one movement that I like to call a big movement, because we're going to be doing some upper and lower body movements together here. And I'll show you here. We have one more movement I'll show you here in a second. All right, and pause. Very good. So our big movement here, what I call box lifts. And I'm going to have my chair out of my way just to, again, show you guys how we should be, how our form should look like as we do a movement safely. All right. So for our box lift, what we're doing, we're going to be picking up an imaginary box, right? The way to pick up our box is to get into a squat position. So knees are, remember, are not going past my toes. They're protected by pushing my weight back instead of pushing my weight forward. So bending, picking up the box. Then I'm going to put that box on the shelf. All right. That shelf is a little high, so I'm putting that box up on the shelf. Okay. If we're seated, what that looks like is very similar. Still have my legs, my feet about hip width apart, and I'm bending, picking up that box, and putting it up on the shelf. All right, so seated or standing, let's do those box lifts together. I'm gonna have that chair out of my way. If you're standing, have a nice clear area as we do our box lifts. In 3, 2, 1, and down. And lift, down, lift. Let me turn to the side so you can see. Down, lift, and you don't have to go as deep as I do. Down, and lift, down, lift, keep it going. 2 more, down, lift, and last one, down, and lift. Very good. We're marching in place again. And we're going to do that same exercise one more time. 2 sets of this exercise. Again, this big movement, that box lift movement. In 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, very good. Shake it out. Again, feet are shoulder width apart. If we're seated, they're still shoulder width apart. We're doing that same movement together. We're reaching and lifting up. In 3, 2, 1, down. And lift. 2. Lift. 3. lift, 4, lift, 5, lift, 6, lift. We're doing 10, 7, lift, 8, lift, 2 more, 9, lift, and this is our last one, 10, and lift. Let's set that box down gently. We can't break the glass, right? Let's march in place. And guess what? Let's do our cool down. Again, thank you so much for joining today. You showed up, we worked out together. We did some functional movements, right? Those movements, those different steps that we did, those lifting movements, they all support our activities of daily living, right? We're stepping over things, stepping across things, we're picking things up, putting them somewhere. Really important to keep our bodies strong so that we can do those things that we enjoy. All right, so thank you again as we do our cool down, shake it out. We'll take a few deep breaths and then we'll do a nice cool down stretch. Deep breath in. Shake it out, shake it out. Make sure you can grab some water if you would like. We're gonna do a nice cool down stretch just to wrap things up. I'm gonna take my arm, all right? Taking my arm, I'm going across my body, and then I'm gonna pull my arm into my chest, all right? So I'm getting a nice good stretch all in my shoulder here as I hold that 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Same thing, opposite side. Nice good stretch. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Next thing I want you to do, so you can open the chest, get some nice deep breaths in. I want you to interlock your fingers behind you, right? So my fingers are interlocked, and I'm gonna pull my shoulders back, pull my arms back so I get a nice open chest. Nice good stretch, and nice good breaths here. On the next exhale, you'll float yourself. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Shake it out. All right. Next thing I want you to do, seated or standing for this one. If you're standing, you have your chair by you. You're gonna do a leg stretch here. So I'm standing, my chair is nearby. I'm gonna step 1 foot forward. My toe is pointed up towards the ceiling. I'm just gonna stretch and reach. And notice I have one hand on the chair in case I need it. If I wanna challenge myself, I could still have both hands forward as I reach forward, all right? If I'm seating, I'm doing that same movement where foot is pointed upwards as my leg is extended and I'm stretching and reaching. One thing to note, if I'm seated, is I'm a little forward on my chair. If I'm seated, I'm a little forward. That allows my leg to really fully extend as I reach forward. And everybody might have a different range of motion, right? So maybe I can reach all the way and grab my toe, and maybe not. That's okay, all right? The key here is we want to be nice and comfortable as we stretch, all right? Next one we're gonna do is on the other side. Same movement, but on the other side. I'll be standing this time. I'm stepping my foot forward, toes pointed upwards, and I'm stretching and reaching towards my toe. If you can reach, that's cool. If not, that's still cool. Everybody has different flexibility. And your flexibility today might be different than yesterday or tomorrow, right? And we'll come back, shake it out. We have one more stretch that we're going to do. If you're seated, what I want you to do is take a nice open stance, and you're just gonna rest your arms against your leg. And actually, I would like everyone to do this one seated. The standing version is a little bit more challenging. So we're all gonna be kind of seated forward on that edge of our chair. Arms are on the inside of our legs. As we stretch, push apart the legs. Allow ourselves to get a nice, good breath. And release, very good. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs. And with that, folks, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for exercising with me and allowing me to lead you guys in a nice functional workout. I hope you were able to enjoy, and I hope you were able to do something that, hey, you might learn to do on your own, right? So the goal here at CEP is not to have you guys rely on us, but rather to give you the tools so we can empower you to feel comfortable, to be able to do those hobbies, to be able to do those activities of daily living. So I appreciate you. Thank you again. I appreciate everyone for giving their best, and we'll see you again soon. All right?